Hey everyone, this is Crunch here from Crunch Team. Today, you might be wondering why I have this mechanism here. And as you can see, I have a bunch of spawn eggs that all have to do with zombies. That is because today I am starting a new series called my Zombie Apocalypse series. And right off the bat, you can tell this is not 7 Days to Die. This has nothing to do with 7 Days to Die. This is Minecraft. Has nothing to do with Minecraft either, but it just has to do with Zombie Apocalypse. I just chose to have Minecraft. It's fun and it's easy. Since it's a sandbox game, it's easiest to demonstrate what I'm talking about. So, today, I am going to be going over why each one of these zombies, mainly the main zombies in Minecraft that are closest to zombies, or have zombie in the name, why every one of them doesn't make sense, and why, and what kind of zombie would make sense in the moments of a zombie apocalypse to actually be successful. That is the first episode of this, series is what type of zombie would actually be effective. Now, first of all, let me place these zombies in their chambers. First, you have the regular classic zombie. Then, you have the zombie villager, which is basically that zombie except in villager form. Then, you have the zombie pigman. Let's try to get an actual adult in here. Oh yeah, I forgot you have to do that. Where was I? Oh yeah, zombie villager. Or no, that was wrong. God freaking Pigman. That's right. And first you got zombie villager, zombie pigman, and don't you dare get out. Zombie pigman. And then you have the zombie horse. This one might actually be more realistic to a certain extent. This is the husk. This is more like the stereotypical Hollywood zombie just because it looks alike. And also, it can survive in daylight. So I don't think I really need this. But just so everything matches. And then you got the drowned. Let's put a couple. Actually, you know what? Not even a couple can survive in here. Because they push each other out. So we're going to put a couple in here. Let's keep the one with the trident. Just because it looks cool. So, here we go. Let's go through them. Now, first off, we have the regular zombie. This is more like a very almost originals type of zombies. Originally, sorry, I got some Mountain Dew. Alright, originally, zombies, the original legend was they burn in the daylight, they eat brains, and they have their arms out towards you. So a lot of zombies nowadays do. But and they were green. So this is basically the stereotypical type of zombie. Or not stereotypical, but the original types of zombies in the legends back in the day. So the reason why this one doesn't make any sense at all is because if you notice, this zombie eats brains. Probably can't tell, but the zombie eats brains. They also, if he comes towards me, actually I need to enter in survival mode for this. Game mode survival. As you can see, when he comes towards me, he actually moves slow. And a lot of these zombies do. So let's go back into game mode creative. And so that doesn't make any sense because if a zombie moves slow, I'm going to briefly talk about this. If a zombie moves slow, it is harder for it to actually get you. First of all, the zombie, since it moves so slow, you can easily run away. Or you don't even have to run away, you can just stay at a distance and slowly move back. It might be disgusting and kind of scary to see it, but it's definitely not going to be a danger. Because in order for these type of zombies to eat or turn you into a zombie is to eat your brain. And that's a whole nother thing, because first of all, again, if it's really hard for them to catch you unless you're really stupid and do not smell it or have no sense of smell or something, like these guys. The second thing is these zombies eat brains. The reason that doesn't make any sense because no recorded or no facts say from the legend that they are no more than an infected human that had their brain eaten. So humans, if you don't notice, cannot break through skulls with just their mouth. How the hell do you expect yourself to bite through a skull? That's the first thing. This zombie is no more than a human that's infected, or AKA got their brain eaten. So that zombie will not be able to bite you. I just explained why. Those are the two main reasons. And yeah, let's move on to this one. This one basically has the exact same factors as this one because it's the exact same thing except villager and not one of us. So let's move on to the next one. Zombie Pigman. This one is a little bit more towards modern culture. But first of all, zombies, this one is more, just say, human. Instead of eating your brain, this kind of zombie is just gonna hit you. Judging by the fact that it has a sword in his hand, it can hold things. Which actually, modern culture, modern type of zombies, actually can hold guns. So, this one's more realistic, but again, it is rotting. First of all, not to mention the climate and just the weather itself, or weathering. If you don't know, when something rots, it's actually deteriorating. What that means is this thing would not be able to move, because if muscles are deteriorating, it could not move. And this is actually a pig man, so judging that it was actually a human thing at one point, it's not going to be able to move. It has no magic abilities to help it move once it's rotten. Now, this horse zombie, is very different because it comes from a type of zombie that hunts humans, plants, and animals. Okay, so that means at one point the zombie was a human or some animal that attacked this one and turned that into a zombie. So again, rotting flesh, that is a main factor in all this. So this zombie does make sense that it would be able to run and bite you, but that is... but again, rotting and all the things that apply for basically all of these zombies. This one is more like the Hollywood zombie, because it does not burn in the daylight. I don't know if this one does either. No, it doesn't. So this one is more like a Hollywood, maybe Walking Dead, something like that. But this one basically it applies for all of these reasons except for the brain biting or skull biting, because that right there can bite it can basically bite any part of your body and infect you. So you perverts that want to get with a zombie, I would not want to hook up with one. So that out of the way, next we're going to talk about this, the Drowner. The Drowner is a very different zombie. Normally, in the modern or any zombie day, zombies cannot swim. Actually, according to some movies, some can. But for the most part, they cannot swim because they're not bright enough. Nor do they have the muscle ability or instincts to throw something. So this one specifically, this is why I chose the trident, so we could demonstrate. If I stood out here... or crap, I'm in caps lock. So if I demonstrate... What the heck? Did you just walk out? Oh my god. If I demonstrate, don't walk out. I need to demonstrate this. Survival. Alright, throw at me. Throw something at me. It might have to be in the water. Yeah, see, look. It can throw stuff at me. The reason this would not work is for the same reason for basically all the other things that I wouldn't be able to do anything. It is rotten flesh. Not to mention, in the water, there are a lot of elements that you have to consider for a rotten substance to not deteriorate and move away or break apart on me. But especially in the water, because water carries a lot of elements. It carries cold. If something is rotting, usually the parts of it will break off. So maybe the flesh and stuff will move away, float into sea. And that will deteriorate it even more. Not to mention certain parasites will be able to get in this. A lot of parasites and dangerous fish will chomp this, because this will be seen as a human, and sharks. Okay, get in the. There you go. Sharks are gonna eat pretty much anything that they can tell is food, and they can eat that without getting infected, because this specific type of zombie will not infect animals. So that also would not make any sense for the same reason most of these would fail, because of rotting and decomposition or whatever it's called. So what zombie would make sense? That's where we're gonna that's what we're gonna talk about next. What zombie would make sense? In order to figure this out, we're gonna have to take in all the elements and basically all the information that you get from these guys and any other type of zombie, and we're gonna have to either change rules or combine them and take out some, because most zombies honestly would fail because of the rotting and all these other things. First of all, major thing, if a zombie is moving slow, again, it will not be able to bite you. You must be a very dumb person in order to let that happen. So then, the zombies would not be a threat. It would just be very scary, but it's not really a threat. So first thing I would change, instead of dying from a bite, you would have to die from an airborne virus if the zombie would breathe it out. And if the zombie doesn't breathe it out, and they could only bite you, then again, it doesn't make any sense. Assuming that zombies do not breathe, that is a rule we would have to change. We would have to change so they can breathe, so they breathe out the virus. That is how we're gonna have to do that. And it could also be waterborne, so like these zombies, if it was waterborne and it would get in our water and lakes, that would suck, because then it would be waterborne. That would be another way it could happen. So yeah, first thing we need to change is how you get infected. The other thing we need to change is that it is not a decomposing zombie, because you cannot move if you're decomposing. Obviously, because you're dead, but in this case, apparently you can move when you're dead. So even if you were dead, and you could still move and be, have a conscience or whatever, you wouldn't be able to move in the first place, so, because you're decomposing. Maybe for the first, couple of days or weeks, maybe not even weeks, maybe the first, 5 days, you would be able to move, kind of. Maybe the first couple of days you can move fine. And for the 5th or 7th day, you're going to be too deteriorated to move properly. You could still wiggle and stuff, but you wouldn't really be able to move. So that would completely defeat the purpose. So even if a zombie wasn't going to attack you, it'd still need to be airborne to be effective. So those rules kind of go together. Another thing is, this kind of goes along with the airborne thing. A zombie would have to be what they call a bacteria, because bacteria gets on surfaces. Normally, in these type of zombies are a lot of times they're viruses, but a lot of times they also are just like evil magic that brings them to life, especially with a lot of the Minecraft zombies. Never mind, basically all of them. But if you're trying to go through that thing, then if they're magical, evil magic, it would have to be a virus. So that doesn't apply to all zombies, but applies to some. And those are the main things I have to get out of the way. So what zombie would work? What kind of zombie would actually make sense to be effective or destructive or whatever? Okay, the first thing. We went through all the things, now let's put a zombie together. Okay, so, normally zombies, are rotting corpses. And zombies are also, infected humans. Or dead humans, depending on what zombie, if it's magic or not. So, we're gonna have to make it so it's a human. And that's the first thing. It would have to be airborne virus, meaning the person gets infected and turns basically psychotic. I'm pretty sure there are, and it basically controls you. I'm pretty sure there are viruses that do that to bugs, but none that do that to humans. Thank God, because our immune systems and everything and we're so advanced, it doesn't really happen. It's not possible to really happen easily. So yeah, it happens in bugs and not us, but so yeah, it would need to be infected in airborne viruses, waterborne viruses, or something that you can physically touch or breathe in, or get exposed to in any way to get infected, not from bites or anything. But, yeah, bites could exist, but in order to make it actually easier to contain, because honestly, with that type of virus, if it only was airborne and the only danger was airborne, we could develop, honestly, a really quick cure, because we have to give credit to our doctors and our nurses and all the people that can develop medicines, because they have done a really good job. There's not a lot of things that we can't cure. And that sounds stupid because you think, oh, cancer and all these things are uncurable. Yeah, but cancer is common, but it's one of the very few things that actually are curable. Like, a bunch of other things actually are curable, like very curable. So, taking that in mind, yeah, it would have to have some other way to infect you. What I'm thinking is we go with the authentic way, is they bite you or scratch you, adding the airborne virus. That would make it a lot harder to contain. And we would also have to make it a fast-running zombie. It would have to be a zombie that runs fast. That would honestly be the difference between a pandemic and just a very scary thing. A very scary person moving. Or if it's even a person anymore. So we would have to look at a zombie that looks like a human, doesn't act like a human, or more acts like a very distorted human. So yeah, the stereotypical Hollywood zombies, in the end, would not work. This is why the zombie apocalypse would just fail if you take Hollywood zombies in the place. But if you think of one that, if you say a zombie that most people don't think of, then yeah, it probably would work, depending on what it does. So that is the conclusion. What I just said, the factors would have to be, I guess the factors I would have to have. If you guys think of any factors it could have or may have to have, tell me in the comments below, because I would love to know. I would love to know your guys' creativity on a zombie, and describe what you think would have what a zombie would actually look like if it was effective. Describe it, tell me what the features are, and in your imagination, what you would do or what would happen. So this was Crunch CT signing off.